In this video, I'm just going to show you some of the basic Excel formatting functions to make your blank sheet look a little prettier. So here's your blank file, and whenever I give you a template, I will have typically already formatted a lot of the cells for you. But here's what it looks like when you open up a brand new workbook. So in order to format it, you just need to manipulate a lot of the cells using the ribbon up here. So, for example, let's say I want to create the template for the cost estimate sheet. So first, when you start, you got to figure out how many columns you need. So for this one, I might have a cell that just says the number, where I'm going to number them 1 through 20, for example. And then the next row, I might have description. Then the next cell, quantity. Maybe the next one is cost per unit. And then finally, total cost. So as you can tell, the columns aren't wide enough. This doesn't really stand out too well. So if you want to make the columns wider, you can click and drag, or you can always double click and it'll make it as wide as it needs to be. We're probably going to have to make these bigger later anyway, because the description, for example, will be longer than the word description. So from here, you could say you want to maybe make these bold. Maybe I want to make them bigger. I like maybe 14. And then maybe make description a lot larger. Quantity is probably good. Cost per unit. Total cost. Maybe I want to have an overall title for this. So I'm going to highlight all of these cells right here. And I'm going to hit this merge and center. And that's going to allow me to make a nice title for this. So we're going to call this cost estimate. And I want the cost estimate to appear larger than this text. So I'm going to make that 20. And I'll make it bold. If I want to center it, I'm going to hit the center right here. That will center it horizontally. If you want to center it vertically going up and down, you can hit this one right here. And now it's centered. If I want to have my sheets be numbered, I'll just do a few of them and then I'll highlight them and I'll drag it down to, say, 20. Maybe I want to center it. Maybe I want to make it font 12. So then I want to add some borders. Borders really do a great job of making everything appear a lot more clean. So I'm going to highlight everything in my cell, including one extra on the bottom. And I'm going to hit the drop down right here. And here's where I can add the borders. So I'm going to first hit all borders. And it already looks a little bit better. That's what it looks like. Another thing I like to do is I like to highlight and also add a thick box border around everything. So now it looks a little bit cleaner. You might want to add thick box borders around different sections. So my first section is the title, then my values, and then maybe another thick box section for my bottom, where I'm going to have everything be totaled up. Another border I like is if you go to more borders down here. I like the double border over here. If you hit the double border, or really any of these, you hit it over here, and then you tell it where you want it. Do you want it on the top, in the middle? In this case, I can't choose middle because I don't have a middle. I only chose one merged cell. The bottom, the left, the right. I'm going to do the bottom for this one. It gives you a little preview of what it will look like. You can hit OK. And now I have a nice little double line separation right here. I'm going to make everything in this cell font size 12. If you want to make them longer or taller, you can do it for individual ones, or you can highlight all of your rows and right click, go to row height, and you can tell it an amount. Maybe I want to center everything as well. Center these. Centering typically makes it look good. The description I would keep as a left justified, but everything else I would have as centered. Okay, then on the bottom, when I total everything up, maybe I want to merge these cells together. because I'm going to have my description. Maybe it's going to be, I don't know, wall studs. Maybe I'll have 30 of them. Maybe each one costs $2. And then the total cost would be equal to this cell times that cell. Now we're going to talk a little bit about formatting. So the default is just a generic, you can type in whatever you want. But in this cell, for example, I want this to appear as a currency, a number. Like I want to see the little dollar symbol for here and here. So I'm going to highlight this whole section, and then I'm going to right-click and hit Format Cells. And over here, I'm going to go to Number, and you can choose the category. Like General is what it's defaulted to. I want it to be Currency. And if I have cents, maybe I want it to 2 decimal places. If everything is rounded off to a whole number, maybe I want 0 decimal places. I'll keep it at 2. Another one that I often use is let me backtrack for a second. I had previously chose accounting. I typically like currency. Accounting keeps a $ all the way to the left. Currency keeps it right next to it. So apologize for that. And I'm not editing this video, so oh well. Same for total cost. I like to have this be formatted as well with currency. And maybe in the bottom I'm going to, because I'm going to be multiplying across and adding going down. So maybe I want to merge these cells over here, and we'll call this overall total cost. Doesn't really matter how you call it, right? Maybe I want this right justified. Maybe I want to add a few spaces after it to make it a little bit off the edge. Maybe I want it bolded, larger size. Maybe I want to make this a nice thick border box. Maybe I want the whole section. Like this is just how we are going to make our file look more presentable and professional. So that looks pretty good to me. Another thing that I might want to show you is how to color a cell. You can click this cell and then choose a background color. So now my overall total cost would appear as such. So I'm going to have this cell be equal to the sum of the above cells. And each of these cells are going to be equal to the quantity multiplied by the cost per unit. And then drag going down. You'll notice that sometimes when you drag going down, the formatting will follow with it. If the formatting ever changes, you'll just have to go back again and change the borders for it. Let me show you what I mean. Say I drag this down. I'm trying to think of an example. Sometimes something like this will happen, and then you have to just go back at the end and be like, okay, let me just redo that. So what was it? It was all borders first, and then maybe this one I have to make the bottom a thick border again. So I'll hit the thicker border, not the thickest one, the thick one, and then on the bottom. And then over here on the bottom, this one I can do a thick border as well. And that's how you do the cost estimate as well as general formatting for Excel. So any questions, you can email me, and that is a wrap for this.